He's 3-0-2. But two of those guys, Robert, and to be honest with you, I don't even know if Robert was anyone considering Robert a real threat when Danny Garcia actually faced him.
You
He had
mean
just
you mean lightweight fighting at welterweight?
exactly, and
There's
that's been
nothing I hate worse about the PBC than light guys fighting heavier guys. Don't get me wrong, and I can say this now with personal experience. Hey, you know what? 10 pounds makes a difference. Makes a huge difference. 20 pounds makes a difference. It just does.
and to be honest with you, that has been Danny's whole career. You can bring up how many world champions the guy Danny has faced in his career, but when you actually break down where those world champions were when they faced Danny, they were nowhere near their prime. And they just give you some examples. Campbell had like five or six losses. Holt had 4 losses. Judah had 7 losses. I mean, these were, yes, they're ex-champions, Lee, but seriously, were they anywhere near their prime when they had faced you? Amir Khan, he had 2 losses, right? You're like, oh, Amir Khan, that's decent. He has only 2 losses. Guess what, Lee? The fight before, he had just gotten his ass kicked by Lamont Peterson. So Danny fought Amir Khan coming off of a loss. And not only that, that was like a fight of the year candidate where Amir Khan got beat for 12 rounds. Yes, it was an exciting fight, but we all know that was a very hard fight for both of those guys. To follow that up with Danny Garcia, what bad management. And maybe that is the reason why Amir Khan got knocked out in 3 rounds and has been looking for that rematch ever since. Could have been bad management. He's in the fight of the year candidate, and then you put him in with one of the biggest punches of the division in his next fight. Stupid. Either way, I look at Danny's career and see that there's one fight on there that makes him legit, and that's Matisse. And while Matisse had 2 defeats when he faced Garcia, those 2 defeats were split decision losses to Devin Alexander and Zab Judah. Many people thought Lucas should have been 36-0 the night he fought, and myself included, the night he fought Garcia. That's what makes Garcia legit. But Lee, that was so like 5 years ago.
Right.
When we look at Garcia right now, who he's fighting and where he's at, it's just I cannot say that he's better than Keith-Thurman at this moment. If you put all of those champions, ex-champions in the ring with Keith-Thurman, he knocks them out too. So what is that? Well, how does that tell me that Garcia is better than Thurman? Now, when you look at Keith-Thurman's side, he has Sean Porter. He has Luis Collazo. And while Luis Collazo had a lot of losses, I believe he had 5 or 6 losses when he fought Thurman, Luis Collazo had the big wins in the welterweight division. He was actually a welterweight champion. This wasn't someone moving up and facing Danny with 7 losses. He also fought Guerrero. He fought Diaz. He fought an undefeated Diego Chavez, and he fought Carlos Quintana. Keith-Thurman as a welterweight, his resume stands over Danny Garcia right now, and that's why I have him a favorite. They're about the same size. They have basically the same record, same knockout ratio, 60-70% for them. This is a big fight. I like the technical boxer puncher on tomorrow night, or Saturday night, excuse me.
I completely agree, but you basically went on a coffee tirade there and didn't really tell me an outcome.
Well, you want an outcome. Lee, listen,
what do you think people are listening to us at this moment? First of all, I'll say this again. Thank you guys for listening. Like, the surge of listeners as of late, phenomenal. Makes me very happy. Makes Andrew very happy. I'm glad that we entertain you. Am I amusing to you? But I would suspect that anybody who's listening to the show, Andrew, is a degenerate scumbag gambler just like us. And since we have somewhat of a decent track record of picking and betting, I'm going to go out on a limb and say that people want to know our outcomes.
I'm here. I'm with you.
All right. Let's go down the list because there's fights worth betting on here. Let's start with Hey Blue. Are you sticking with Hey and you going to take the 6 to lay the 1, or I would say, and I say this in all these situations where it's a minus 600 plus 400 thing, right? In fact, you can go to the Westgate, minus 500 plus 400. Take the 12-round decision. I just don't see this being a knockout. I just don't. They're gonna gas out and they're gonna limp through 12 ugly. It's 12 round, right? It's gonna
David Hay, his big toe might get injured. Lee, is that what you're saying? What was
yeah,
that? Remember the Klitschko fight? What was he saying about his toe or his pinky? Something got
some
hurt.
bullshit part of his body. But here's based on the age and the mileage and where this fight's going. I see a 12-round fight. I don't think it's going to stop early. Do you?
If David Hay wants any type of comeback in this sport, any payday, he must knock out Bellew, I think, on Saturday night. Because for all the reasons I had said earlier, if you really know the two fighters, you're going to know that one's at a total disadvantage for the simple fact he's not a true heavyweight. He's been stopped. Adonis Stevenson stopped this guy on HBO a few years ago. And then, like I said, numerous other times he's been knocked down in his career. He's going into the ring with a very big puncher. Yes, David Hayes from not a true heavyweight himself, but he's been competing in the light heavyweights for many years now. He went up against the best, went 12 with them. I don't see how Bellew, if he keeps getting hit on the chin like he has in basically all of his matches, he's not standing 12. I would take David Hay by knockout. I'm going to listen, people. You want to go out on a limb on this fight? You're going to try to do everything you can to get the best odds, but it all must end in knockout. Take the rounds, the under, take David Hay to win by knockout. If you take David Hay to straight up, you said it's 5-1 right now?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot of money. So I would try to shorten that bet up and take the under and David Hay by knockout and see what that brings you. Hopefully it's better than 5-1.
Sam Eggington takes on Paul Malignaggi. Believe it or not, Paul Malignaggi in this fight is the underdog. It's about a 2-1 swing no matter how you're looking at it. I don't know shit about Sam Eggington. I'm just going to be honest with the crowd. I've never even heard of this dude.
Same here.
Paul is in the position of doing what Paul does. He's getting paid for rounds. That's what Paul's getting paid for. And clearly he's a dog, so hey, if you want to bet because you got namesake, you can get Paul Malignaggi at plus 195. Go for it. Lay off the Selsby fight. He's a incredibly lopsided minus 2,000.
Holy smokes.
Over Gago.
Showcase.
Yeah, lay off Selsby. He's red hot right now anyway, and he's looking for marquee fights down the road. There is no way Lee Selsby is losing a fight anywhere on the planet this weekend. He'd have to fall going into the ring. There's one report, where is it? Lee Selsby's minus 7,000 on 5 dimes. Jeez. Think they're getting Lee Selsby ready for something bigger? He needs a big showcase.
Probably the winner, possibly winner of Frampton versus Santa Cruz would probably look at a big match with Selsby.
Absolutely. All right, let's talk about this CBS fight card, shall we? Let me see if I got this right. It's the actual televised undercard is going to be Lubin Kota, right?
Yeah, that's
what I read in an article, that they're going to put on Erickson Lubin and Jorge Cota as the co-main. They expect it to go the full 10 rounds, and that's why they want it. It's going 10. It's 45 minutes of TV time. It's a safe bet, and it'll give Lubin a chance to look really good on TV. Is Lubin the PBC prospect that they want to get behind?
Just another undefeated one. You know, the PBC Lee, they have a lot of prospects. They give them a good audience, put them on TV. Some pan out, some don't. Lubin's looked good in the past, but is he some gold-winning Olympian? No. Is he some guy that all the big promotional companies were after? In my opinion, no. I never heard of Lubin until he started fighting on undercards of the PBC matches. You know what I'm saying? So I really don't know who Lubin is yet, but he is getting a chance as a co-main event. So hopefully he makes the most of it.
Well, I think
Swift
bullshit, if you want my opinion.
Swift, who's the guy that fought the orange hair?
Yeah. The other Swift. Yeah. The other Swift, not this
He's another young up-and-comer, got his chance on the PBC, has been making a name for himself, and now look, he's going to be, he is a world champion. So the PBC has done good. they got very lucky with, the model that they were going behind, Floyd Mayweather. A lot of these young guys coming up, they all want to sign with Al Heyman to be the next Floyd. So he's benefiting from that. But as far as, knowing these guys' amateur careers or where they were before I seen them on PBC, I couldn't answer that.
Ans Fonfara, my favorite fighter ever. Well, one of my favorite fighters ever. And why, do you ask? For those of you who have short-term memory loss from clearly smoking too much pot, Ans Fonfara literally is the guy who made Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. bug shit crazy. Like, single-handedly made Chavez Jr. crazy. And it was phenomenal to watch. He takes on Rad Bad Chad Dawson, who's been out of the spotlight for some 26 years. I'm guessing this is a clone or his son. Like, Chad's got to be in his mid to late 30s. He's got to be mid-30s, right?
Chad Dawson? Oh, yeah, of course. Mid-30s, maybe even late. Like I said, he's been irrelevant for 5-6 years, and I don't even know if he's been fighting in the last few, or maybe once or twice. Like you, Lee, surprised he was even still active. I don't know where they expect to take him with this. This is all about Fonfara.
Which takes us to our main event of the evening. 12 rounds in the welterweight division. Keith-Thurman taking on Danny Swift Garcia for the first unified welterweight champion in quite some time. It is basically a 2-1 across the board. Caesars, Westgate, wherever you want to go in Vegas. It's about minus 200 if you're going to bet on Thurman, and you're going to get about $1.85 if you're going to bet on Danny Garcia. Andrew, you've got $100. Where are you dropping it on this bet?
Well, I'm gonna bet more than 100, Lee. This is a big fight, but I gotta go.
Look at you, baller.
I gotta go with the plus 200 or the minus 200.
Wait, as I recall, the last time you were playing baller, that was Canelo and Mayweather.
Well, yeah.
I'm never gonna let you forget that. Does your
I know
lady let you?
Like, I made a few bets since then, but no, that's one of the big ones. Yeah, that's one of the losses. Whatever, Lee.
Did she try to talk you out of it?
What was the chick's name? What was her name that gave it a draw?
Who? Oh, the judge?
Yeah, Ross. CJ Ross,
CJ
baby. Ross. She made me smart that night. You don't understand that, though, Lee. Everybody was saying, you called politics. This chick has it a draw. I love CJ Ross. I knew what they were doing. He needed to give them 5 rounds, Lee. They would give him 7. He only gives them like 3. Las Vegas can't help you if you're only given 3. If you give people must understand this about politics in sports and in boxing. The controversial decisions always like by 2 rounds. You could have went either way. Those 1-2 rounds. So then they give it to the guy that they want to win, keeps him undefeated, and what they hope for is that the trainer and the fighter during the rematch can figure out how to win those 2 rounds convincingly. Bring it back in the rematch. Most of the time, you get a unanimous decision. Did I say that right?
Unanimous?
I don't even get a clap.
Unanimous?
No, not even.
Over the word unanimous.
So anyways, that's what they do on that situation. Canelo proved me right.
All right, where you putting money?
I told you I stay with Keith-Thurman on this. I usually, rarely go for the favorites league because I don't like dropping a lot of money to win, $100. But you said 2-1 odds, correct?
It's minus 200. Yeah.
Minus 200. Yeah. Minus 200.
You got to lay 200 to win 100.
Win 100. That's not bad. That's not bad, especially if you have money to spend. Look at Danny's only plus 185. It's a close fight. Like I said, you got to look at what they've been doing recently more than in a career. Fighting was about what you did in the career. Fighters wouldn't be ever underdogs when champions met champions. It would be 50-50 all the time. But most of the time, there's something in the fights going up to their big one that you can watch and see and decide where he's at. So I like Keith-Thurman in this fight. I think he's just better right now. I think his opposition has been better, which is going to make him a better fighter. Look at Danny's been in with a lot of soft opponents, even out of the welterweight since Matisse. He's been in with guys that he was never in any danger. Like, he might not have shown up. The Mauricio Herrera fight, a good example.